I was rhyming.
Nice poem. I couldn't do that. Welcome to PTI. Tony has the day off, and who we hope, like many others, is having a meaningful Yom Kippur. So I'm joined by our great friend, the host of the starting lineup on Sirius XM Radio, Mr. Frank Isola.
That's poetry. That's poetry.
There we go. That was very nice. We're going to start with the New York Yankees forcing a deciding Game 3 in their series with the Boston Red Sox tonight, a day after riding the pine. Jazz Chisholm made a diving stop that kept runs from scoring in the 7th. Then in the 8th, he raced home from first on an Austin Wells single to give the Yankees a 4-3 win. Game 3 is tonight, Frank. What do you make of how we got here? And to whom are you giving any edge, if anybody?
Yeah, well, Jazz certainly saved the season last night. What I love about it from the Yankees standpoint, they're always kind of waiting around to hit a home run. They're winning a game because of their defense, what Jazz did in the field in the 7th inning. And then how about he gets a 7-pitch walk. He's on first with 2 out, and then he scores because he's running on a 3-2 pitch and scores on a single. The Yankees actually manufactured runs, and they won because of their defense. Their relievers were outstanding in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, and that's why they're even in this series. I don't think tonight's going to be easy because I trust Alex Bregman of the Red Sox, and Chapman is rested, so that could be a factor as well. But give the Yankees credit, as opposed to just waiting around to hit a home run. They actually manufactured a run last night when they needed to, and they played some solid defense when they needed to.
Well, I mean, that game was so tight. Yep. You know, in a couple of key at-bats, I mean, Judge and Stanton just, were handled.
Yep.
Let's say what happened. So if you're going to wait around for a home run, it's going to be likely from one of those two guys, and they weren't up to it in that moment, but they got another chance tonight, of course, in Yankee Stadium. All 3 games in this wild card round are in one ballpark.
Yep.
And so I looked at, Frank, I don't see an edge. I just don't. These two have been at it too long. It's Hatfields, McCoys, it's Celtics, Lakers. It's too long. It's too long. There's too much history. There's so much back and forth. And I think that even at a time where you can walk into a clubhouse, and you and I have done this, and current day players aren't always familiar with a rivalry and the history of it, that is not the case with the Yankees and the Red Sox. Let me wander out on a limb and say that. So I don't see an advantage. I don't know that there's any kind of game we can predict. We've seen tight games so far. I would love to see another one. That game last night was so dripping in drama. I was on a flight from Washington to Chicago, and I had old-fashioned DirecTV on the plane, and I was able to see it. And I found myself screaming out loud, particularly when Story hits the home run to tie it at 3 after the Yankees have gone ahead. It's like, oh, my God. That's what Yankees-Red Sox should be. And why would we not think it's going to be like that tonight in the decider?
Yeah, and when Story came up in the 7th inning with 2 on, I'm thinking he's going to get a hit. The way that he was hitting the ball, he absolutely crushed that one to center field. Luckily for the Yankees, it was caught. The monkey wrench tonight, though, Mike, is you got 2 rookies going for the Red Sox.
Rookies.
And it's this isn't Pedro against Andy Pettitte in a deciding game. So you just wonder, listen, either one of these guys, they could really, start to build a pretty good reputation for themselves. I just wonder in a situation like this, if one of them's struggling early, how quickly do they get the hook? And we could be looking at a big bullpen game for perhaps both teams. That's why, for me, Chapman at the end, they brought him in the 8th. I think, again, you'll probably see that if that's the situation calls for it. The Yankees look like they might have gotten to it. You guys talked about it yesterday. I mean, when he needed to get out, he struck out 2 with the bases loaded in the 9th inning. All right, let's move to the National League, where the Dodgers cruised past the Reds and into the divisional round. Starter Yoshinobu Yamamoto pitched into the 7th, and rookie starter turned reliever, how about that, Roki Sasaki, closed the door with a 1-2-3 ninth, sealing the 8-4 win. So, Mike, how do the Dodgers look to you as they head towards Saturday's Game 1 in Philadelphia?
I don't know. I mean, it's like they had a scrimmage. An inter-squad scrimmage would have been tougher than playing the Reds, as it turns out. So I don't know. I'm not going to judge them against the Reds and then say, aha, that's going to inform me as to what they're going to do against Philly. No, it isn't. Because Philadelphia, the Phillies have what I think is the best lineup in all of baseball, American or National League. And so here's the bigger problem, immediate problem to me for the Dodgers, Frank. And let me not be phony about this. I root for the Dodgers. I'm going to be rooting for the Dodgers in this next series. But the Dodgers bullpen has an ERA in 2 games against the Reds of 10 plus. I think it's 10.38. Come on now. That is not going to get it done against a murderer's row lineup like the Phillies are going to trot out there. So I don't know I don't know what this means for the Dodgers. I don't think anything that happened in these two games translates to what we're going to see in the next series unless the Phillies are rusty. And I know I'd rather, and they're going to have days off. The Phillies are not going to get back in a real baseball rhythm until the next series if they advance past the Dodgers. So maybe that hurts Philadelphia. But that bullpen, man, what I've seen in that bullpen in 2 days does not give me a lot of faith in the Dodgers.
Yeah, and last year, you think about the Phillies, that game 1 against the Mets, they were rested. What happened? Zach Wheeler, 7 innings, 1 hit. They go to their bullpen. Everything blew up, and the Phillies end up getting knocked out in 4 games. If you're the Philadelphia Phillies, you win 96 games during the regular season. And who comes to town that you have to beat? You have to beat the Dodgers. I get it. You finished 3 wins better than them. But who do you trust here? Come on, Mike. Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman. These guys have a tendency to deliver, and the rotation is set up for the Dodgers. Because of the travel days built in, you're going to get Ohtani in game 1. You'll get Blake Snell, who pitched 7 innings the other night. And then you get Yamamoto, who will be about on a week-long rest. And he pitched into the 7th last night. He pitched, when he got out of that bases loaded, no-out situation. So if I'm Philadelphia, I get what you're saying. But they had a great lineup last year, too. And, you talk about the Dodgers bullpen. The Dodgers bullpen had more blown saves in the second half of the season than any team in the major leagues.
That's my point.
But, Mike, in September, their bullpen was actually better than Philadelphia's, believe it or not. So it's going to come down to that. Last year, Philly's bullpen betrayed them. We'll see if it happens this time around as well.
Frank, we're real quickly to put a period on this. When Shohei was out there giving up nothing for 5 innings, he then goes out of the game, and his bullpen gives up like 9 runs.
Yeah.
So even, you can get great starting effort, and very few pitchers are going to go beyond 7. And so we don't know that Shohei's going to do that because he hadn't done it.
No.
Bullpen, man, it's interesting. Interesting series coming up on both sides. Let's move to Lane Kiffin's proclamation that dynasties are dead in the SEC. The coach of 4th-ranked Ole Miss told reporters that NIL and the transfer portal will keep programs like Alabama from stockpiling talent like they once did. Said Kiffin, quote, "If a team in the bottom half is down for a couple of years, they won't stay down for long anymore because they can go buy and fix their problems." Close quote. You agree with Kiffin on this, Frank?
I would also add the expanded playoff as well, because you have to win more rounds to, repeat as a national champion. So you think about Nick Saban, 6 titles over his time in Alabama, 07 to 2021. And then, of course, Kirby Smart, they go back-to-back at Georgia. So those are like your most recent, I guess you would call them, dynasties. What I love about Lane Kiffin, he likes to stir it up. He likes to say provocative things. And to me, this all goes back to last year, because he wanted 9-3, either Alabama, Ole Miss, or South Carolina to get into the playoffs ahead of Indiana and SMU. What I think he's doing, he's really lobbying. If you read a lot of his comments, he's lobbying to get 4 teams in from the SEC into that playoff. He's right. It's going to be difficult with NIL. He told the story about being at an Alabama practice. They would say, go look at the outside